I'm devastated. My heart is broken.
Under the tears and heartache is anger.
He will not get away with murder again for the second time.
As Tamera Washington's loved ones gather outside of her South Chicago home on Luella near 83rd, family members returning to the scene where Washington and her boyfriend were murdered just days ago.
And them people let him out to kill my niece. I want justice.
This is the story of Tamera Washington, a vibrant young woman full of dreams. In the early hours around 2 a.m. on a Sunday, 26-year-old Tamera Washington along with her loving boyfriend, 51-year-old Norman Redden, was enjoying a quiet night at her South Chicago home. Little did they know that their lives were about to be shattered by the presence of a man who would show no mercy. Tamera's ex-boyfriend, a 55-year-old convicted murderer who was out on bond in a pending gun case, stormed into her home killing her boyfriend, then afterwards taking her life in the most brutal way in front of her uncle and young daughters. What started as a peaceful evening turned into a nightmare that would forever change the lives of those involved. Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. This story takes us to Chicago, Illinois. 26-year-old Tamera Washington, a resident of Chicago, was a young mother of 3 with a promising future. She was a resilient young lady, full of life, was happy, and loved to sing.
In love sometimes it's wrong, and sometimes it's right. For every win, someone must fail. But there comes a point when we excel, say.
She was in a relationship with 51-year-old Norman Redden. Around 2 a.m. on Sunday, April 16, 2023, Stephen Hawthorne, a convicted murderer out on bond, entered Tamera's 2-story home in a South Chicago neighborhood without warning, using a key. While Tamera's 63-year-old uncle watched television in the living room, Washington and Redden were sleeping in one room, and her 3 children slept in another. Stephen, armed with a 9mm handgun, heartlessly shot Norman in the head while he lay defenseless in bed. The sound of the gunshot jolted everyone awake, including Tamera's 3 young daughters. Washington's 3 young children, along with her uncle, sought refuge in a nearby stairwell, desperately seeking safety from the horrifying scene unfolding before them. Terror filled the house as chaos erupted. Tamera's uncle bravely confronted Hawthorne, engaging in a desperate struggle for control of the weapon. Hawthorne fired 2 shots, but by sheer luck, both missed their mark. Sensing an opportunity to escape, Tamera's uncle pretended to be injured, causing Hawthorne to flee from the house. But the nightmare was far from over. With relentless determination, Hawthorne chased Tamera into the dark street as she desperately tried to find safety at a neighbor's home. He fired a shot, hitting her in the arm. The doorbell camera captured the harrowing scene as the 250-pound 6'3" Hawthorne caught up with Tamera, subjecting her to a brutal beating with his firearm. She mustered the strength to escape, and in her desperate pursuit of help, Tamera approached a passing motorist, hoping for assistance. It was a couple who believed it to be an intimate assault since Tamera was half-dressed. However, Hawthorne aimed the gun at the driver and told them to keep moving, forcing the driver to leave without helping Tamera. The couple called the police after driving away. Hawthorne continued to beat Tamera with his firearm, then finally using a large rock and boulder from a nearby lot to inflict several blows to her head, ultimately ending her life. A compassionate couple passing by saw the unfolding tragedy and intervened, pulling Tamera's terrified children into their car, shielding them from the grisly scene. The weight of Hawthorne's actions was further revealed when a bloodstained boulder, used as a tool of destruction, was found next to Tamera's lifeless body. As law enforcement arrived at the scene, Hawthorne attempted to flee, but he was swiftly apprehended by the authorities. Prosecutors revealed that he was captured with blood-stained hands and shirt, indicating his direct involvement in the heinous crimes. Furthermore, the firearm used to shoot both victims was recovered from the spot where he discarded it during his escape. Following the devastating incident, Hawthorne faced serious charges of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and 1 count of resisting arrest. The judge presiding over his hearing ordered that Hawthorne be held without bail.
Family and friends of Tamera Washington were left shattered as they returned tonight to where she and her boyfriend were killed. Police arrested her ex-boyfriend, a convicted murderer who was out on bond in another case at the time of the killing. As Tamera Washington's loved ones gather outside of her South Chicago home on Llewellyn near 83rd, family members returning to the scene where Washington and her boyfriend were murdered just days ago.
She was a resilient young lady, full of life, happy, loved to sing, oh my God.
Her voice now forever silenced. Prosecutors say early Sunday morning, Stephen Hawthorne entered Washington's home with a key and went upstairs and shot and killed her boyfriend, Norman Redden, while he was in bed. Court documents say other relatives, including Washington's two young daughters, hid in the house while Hawthorne chased Washington down outside, allegedly beating her to death with a large rock. He was soon arrested after a short chase.
I got a little piece, just a little bit.
At the time of the murders, Hawthorne was out on bond in a pending unlawful use of a weapon by a felon case that stemmed from a traffic stop in January. Back in 1983, Hawthorne was convicted of murder when he was a teenager. State prison officials say he was released in 2017.
And them people let him out to kill my niece. I want justice.
It is important to note that at the time of these tragic killings, Hawthorne was already out on bond in connection with an unlawful use of a weapon by a felon case that originated from a traffic stop. Hawthorne had been granted permission to work, and he was monitored through a GPS bracelet as a condition of his release. Shockingly, the GPS data showed his presence at his workplace and subsequently tracking him to Tamera's residence on the fateful night. Hawthorne's criminal history includes a murder conviction as a teenager in 1983, which led to a life sentence the following year. However, in 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court deemed life sentences without parole for juveniles unconstitutional, resulting in Hawthorne's resentencing to 60 years in prison, as confirmed by prosecutors. State prison officials confirmed that Hawthorne was released in 2017. He was a free man for the first time in 33 years after being sentenced as a teenager to life in prison for the double murder of an alleged neighborhood bully and a bystander. Furthermore, he generously offered his services as a volunteer at Northwestern University's Blum Legal Clinic, where driven law students worked diligently to secure his early release. Notably, Hawthorne's journey and experiences were highlighted in a 2019 feature article published by the Chicago Tribune, which explored the challenges of life after imprisonment and showcased a shelter aimed at providing a safe haven for individuals seeking refuge from street violence. Despite the promising path he had been on, Hawthorne encountered setbacks along the way. He faced an arrest for gun possession in February 2020. Prior to that, in January, law enforcement discovered multiple firearms, including an AR-15 rifle, leading to another arrest. The question of granting individuals like Hawthorne a second chance, particularly those who committed violent crimes during their teenage years, has sparked debate among victims' rights advocates and prosecutors. Some argue that regardless of age, individuals with such a history should not be given the opportunity for early release. On the other hand, proponents of early release contend that growing evidence suggests teenagers struggle to fully comprehend the consequences of their actions, are highly influenced by peer pressure, and can be effectively rehabilitated as adults. A motive has not been provided as to why Hawthorne would commit such a brutal act, even after being given a second chance at life. According to a 54-year-old man from the south suburbs who claimed to be a longtime friend of Hawthorne and had posted bail for his January gun case, he revealed too that the relationship between Hawthorne and Tamera had been deteriorating. The former couple was embroiled in an ongoing dispute over Hawthorne's personal belongings that were still at Tamera's residence. The friend said he thought the situation was complicated by Hawthorne's stunted development with women, saying Tamera was only the second woman he dated since being released, and that he had very limited experience with women. This case was a tragedy all around. Norman Redden, a kind-hearted and loving man, had become an innocent victim caught in the crossfire of Hawthorne's rage. He had done nothing to provoke such a senseless act of violence. Tamera Washington, who no longer desired to be in a relationship with Hawthorne, was hunted down and brutally killed by an ex who had killed before, leaving her 3 children without their mother. As friends and family mourn the loss of the couple, they hold on to the memories of their loved ones and try to heal from the brutal end of 2 lives that were tragically cut short. This crime has left many questioning the depths of human nature and the possibility of rehabilitation for those who commit such heinous acts. Can murderers truly be redeemed? It's a haunting question that lingers in the minds of many. My condolences to the families and loved ones of Tamera Washington and Norman Redden. Their lives were taken in a senseless act of violence by a man who society gave a second chance, leaving behind a void that can never be filled. They deserved so much more than the tragic fate that befell them. May you continue to heal and one day find peace.
If I could travel back to the future, I would tell my future self to listen to mine. I would also tell myself to believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Never let anyone downplay your accomplishments because no one had to go through them but you. I would tell myself that it's so much easier to get things done when you have a chance because once you no longer have the help that feels like a crutch, everything starts to become a little harder. And it's okay to be scared sometimes, but it's also okay to step out of your comfort zone. Sometimes even if it feels like a whim of faith, because you never know, you just might surprise yourself. It's also okay to fall down. It's also okay to get back up. It's okay to cry, but you never stop moving on. You never stop getting better, and you never stop achieving your goals and your dreams. Those are the things that I would tell my future self.
Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.